The question is, I like to do lots of things. Is focusing on one really the way to succeed?
Yes.
Yes.
Vital.
Who says yes? Hands up for yes.
Yeah. So I had so many ideas I was going to set up. And even last night, I say this, but even last night I bought a new domain, Broken Antiques. I think it's genius. You got these antiques, you send it into the workshop, they fix them, you flog them off. But focus is key. So since I decided to stop coming up with new businesses every day, we kind of double turnover the next month and then doubled it after that. And that's because you're purely focused on what you're doing and you're not saying, oh, I could make millions on eBay or on Amazon or on some other stupid platform. You just focus on what you're doing. For me, selling websites. Yeah.
I think we've all got that sort of a story, haven't we?
Yeah, I think it's an entrepreneurial kind of curse in a way that we come up with loads of ideas and we think, oh, that'd be brilliant. And the mistake is to pursue every idea we've got, and I've definitely fallen into that trap. And the thing that really kind of worked for me is when I realised I could have the variety while still focusing on one kind of business. So I found that with books, so every book is a new project, it's a new creative endeavour, and so the book becomes the focus of my creative attention. But every day I'm doing the same thing, you know, there's covers and there's typesetting and there's words, and then they pop out at the end and we sell them. So I think finding a business where you can enjoy that creative side is important. Or if you are very entrepreneurial and start stuff, just realise that's your strength and get ready to get managers in to actually drive that business and focus on making that business a success while you step out of the way and start the next thing. But I never learned that, I think, because we all enjoy doing this stuff as well. So my first couple of businesses were just crazy, you know, they were successful to a point, but then I just started looking for new things rather than focusing on building on that success. You'd look for new ideas, or you'd be like, right, now I'm going to do this. So I started an instantassistant.com business before virtual assistants were a thing, and I thought this could have been a great idea, but we were a little bit early. This was 1996, and so we were a bit early in there, and it's kind of we got plenty of assistants but not enough clients. And rather than sort of sticking that out maybe another year or so, when you got Elance came along, I think in 1998, we're like, no, next idea, and I went through loads of like .com businesses, and the thing I wish I had known back then was actually I wasn't very sophisticated. I was a business idea starter. I didn't actually know how to run a business and to exit a business and make money from a business.
It's definitely a skill to learn, isn't it? Because it's all very different. It's a different skill set to have, running a business, to coming up with ideas for the business, and also appreciating that. But I think maybe as part of the process of becoming a successful business person is going through that and then learning that you have to focus. Because I think we've all been there where you go, oh, we'll do this lovely thing and this lovely thing, oh, bored now, let's do the next one. Because it's really fun, and that's what we do, and that's why. And I think it's also worth remembering that it's not that each of those brilliant ideas are bad ideas. Each of them actually very likely are really good ideas and could be very successful businesses, but they're only ever going to be as successful as you can dedicate the time, energy and money to.
That's a brilliant point. There's a difference between a good idea and a good business.
Yeah.
And you know, I've definitely fallen into that. This is such a good idea, I've got to pursue it. I'm not the right person to do it.
And I don't think the internet helps either, because you have all of these ideas, everyone's saying do it this way, do it that way, and all of these different things come in and you think, oh, well, maybe I'm doing it the wrong way, maybe I should do it this way then. And we've got that whole thing of being, you know, we're supposed to be multi-skilled. You've been boiling the kettle and doing this and doing all these different things together, but actually focusing on one thing makes a huge difference. It just makes this complete shift, doesn't it?
Takes the pressure off, doesn't it?
The thing is, we've got all the skills between us as well to basically get a business from start to kind of finish and ready to launch. And so that's a tempting thing to pick up the phone and say, oh, so I've got this idea, what do you think? Or Kieron, can you write me some copy, or Ruby or Joe or whatever? And it's just it's so tempting just to go, oh, we'll do it overnight and then tomorrow we'll be ready, and then sure enough tomorrow.
Literally within a week, it's go, ready, we're ready to go.
That's it.
Has anyone got time to do this? No.
Exactly. Joins the ever-long to-do list.
Who's going to get the clients?
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that you always underestimate the process needed for clients. If clients were like products, and there was like a conveyor belt of clients and they all fitted nicely in the box, then you could have businesses, you could have as many businesses as you liked. But because there always has to be a personal side to business, You have to take time getting to know people, talking to them, dealing with things that don't quite work. You've written some copy, you thought it was brilliant, they hate it, or they haven't got the photography for the website that you needed, and you've got to wait another 3 days, and that's put you back because you had it in the time slot. I think when those sort of things start happening, you realise why you need to have full focus on a business. Because you have to deal with it not fitting in the box, because people don't fit in the box.
Yeah.
And also getting clients. There's so many people I speak to on a daily basis, especially baby businesses, so within like the first year, and you've got everything looking great, it looks great, you've actually gone to the effort to get the branding looking nice, you've done the copywriting, you've got all the process, the website's built, and it is that thing of I've built it and then they will come, but then they're not coming, and it's like, well, where are they? It's all really good, I'm doing a really good thing, I'm delivering really great service, my customers love what I do. Why am I not getting more customers through the door? And it's just about grit and hard work and being consistent and waiting for them to come through, isn't it? It just takes time.
Relationships as
Building
well. It's
relationships.
very much about building relationships, and people underestimate how long that can take.
Yeah.
I think from start to finish.
Because a few years in, it's it looks like it's so much easier, doesn't it? Because you've just got enough of those regular and repeat and referral clients that it fills your time.
Yeah, I think you made a really valid point about grit actually quitting too soon. You could be onto an amazing business idea and you just think, bored of this now, or it's not happened as quickly as I projected or that I thought it would, I'm going to move on to something else. And I've definitely, seen people that you just think, why are you giving on that? That's a brilliant idea. And you're nearly there. And some people, for some people, if this is their first time out as an entrepreneur and they're like, they've left their job behind potentially, that could be their I tried that, it didn't work, and they never have another go.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really sad. I think giving it more time and, you still need to know when to quit if it's a completely bad business. But I think, just quitting too soon can be a real downside.
And it is because your emotions get involved, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you start doubting yourself, you start doubting the business, when actually it's probably a very sound business, you're just not putting the energy in. Or you're putting the energy in the wrong ways, I think is often the case.
Wrong place.
We see people who are knackered and they're working, I'm a terror for it, is I'll sit in front of the computer and I'll go, right, I'm going to work really solidly and focus. And some days you sit there and you've done 12 hours in front of the screen and you think, what have I really done that's very productive today? Not a massive amount. I seem to have been, I'm tired and I feel like I've been at work all day, and that's one of those days where you feel like, oh, it's been a real slog. And then another day when you're uber productive and you've got 2 hours, you do more in those 2 hours than you could have done in that whole day. And I think a lot of people get stuck in those 12-hour, I've got to just be sitting here.
Yeah, the slog, the grind.
Slogging, rather than being clever and utilising outsourcing and contacts and whatever to do it well.
Because we can't be all things to all people. I think when you go into business, you tend to think, if you're in a company, you'd have the marketing department, you'd have, the accounts and all of those different things going on. Yet as an entrepreneur, you start to think, well, I'll do this, that, and the other. And as in the early days, you forget to bring in that outsourcing. I think it's so important.
And you have to, don't you? Or even that you haven't figured out what those jobs are. So then when it gets to a point when you don't know what you can outsource. Because you're doing everything.
This probably won't make it onto the cut, but I'm going to say anyway. So I remember when I was working with my sister on our first business, and you probably heard the term chief cook and bottle washer. Well, she said, I'm not the chief dog and bollock washer. And I remember she was right, but she said it so wrong that we all kind of laughed at her. But I think, often, like you're saying, Ruby, trying to do everything yourself is a massive way of again, it's this lack of focus. It's not being focused because you can't be good at everything.
No, you can't.
And I've learned now, there are so many skills I've learned that I'm sort of half good at. I thought, I've wasted hours of my life doing that. I should have just gone to an expert. I should have just paid a bit of money and got somebody in that could have done that for me. Same with copy, SEO, website, branding, all of those things. Sometimes it's better to just pay somebody else to do it than to go through the learning curve of trying to do it yourself and then find actually you're not as good as the experts anyway.
I think, and also with that, is that people say I can't afford it, rather than thinking how can I afford it?
Yeah, because they always think their time isn't valuable, so they say, I'll do it myself, but actually you've got to think, what's your time worth? And I've just spent 2 days doing that. Well, actually, that is still money that you could be doing something else.
Yeah. Well, how could I earn that money?
Yeah.
By hook or by crook.
Exactly.
To pay for that to be done.
Yeah, that's a good point.